Hi everybody, I'm David. Welcome to my channel, My Yard Sale. Hey, today I want to talk about something that happened 35 years ago in my life. And it was, I'm going to say traumatic, but it was not as traumatic as I think normal people would have experienced. Because I was part of a Navy squadron in, um, in the Desert Storm, Desert Shield engagement trying to liberate Kuwait from the Iraqis. So 35 years ago, about 6 o'clock in the morning, I got woke up by a 500-pound moored mine exploding under the ship that I was on. I was on the USS Tripoli. And there was myself and, I don't know, 600 of my peers and 3,000 ship guys that ran the ship aboard the USS Tripoli, cruising through the Persian Gulf while we were doing airborne mine countermeasures uh, um, we were doing airborne mine countermeasure work, trying to get rid of the moored mines that the Iraqis had planted throughout the Persian Gulf. And we had already found several mines and deployed, EOD to detonate the mines. Explosive Ordnance Disposal, that's EOD. Navy SEALs, kind of, to dispose of the mines. So this disposal of mines wasn't really our main job. Our job was to find the mines. There were other people that were exploding mines. So on the evening, like last evening, the evening prior to the mine hit, there was notifications that there was silkworm problems. And silkworms are, I don't know exactly what silkworms are, but they're, I think, land-based rockets that they can fire at ships and um, and can obviously destroy ships. Well, I was on one of those ships. They had gotten silkworm um, warnings, and I guess the ship was, I don't know, zigzagging through the Persian Gulf or something, trying to evade silkworm lock on, and somehow, ironically, the ship that the mine countermeasures squadron was on, we hit a 500-pound moored mine. A moored mine is one of those floating mines that they're locked to a chain into the bed of a, like a weight or something, and the ships, they bounce into those floating mines, and there's all these triggers all over the mines, and that's what detonates the mine. So 35 years ago, I was on the USS Tripoli, and it hit this 500-pound moored mine, and this was at 6 o'clock in the morning. And imagine being woken up out of your, out of bed, out of sleep, after working pretty hard work all day, by a sound that's as loud as if you go to a fireworks show on 4th of July. Imagine if all the fireworks at the same time got lit off and blew up. That's what this sounded like. And the weirdest thing is that it was underneath us, obviously, underneath the front of the ship, and it blew the entire front of the ship probably a foot or 2 feet into the air, like it launched the whole front of the ship up enough that the people that were still awake, they got thrown around pretty pretty aggressively. And for those of us that were sleeping, I mean, we couldn't quite figure out what was going on. And then in the ship, they have this this alarm that they set off called general quarters. In general quarters, everybody on the ship, every single person on the ship, knows exactly where to go and what they need to do. That's their job, is general quarters and war. So all of us squadron guys, we don't really have jobs in the ship. It was our goal in general quarters to get to our muster area, which is where we worked. And then for those of us that flew, I used to fly. I was an air crewman in a MH-53 Echo um, mine countermeasures helicopter, and it was my job to get dressed and get ready to fly and go to war, I guess. So 6 o'clock in the morning, this mine goes off, blows the ship part out of the water a little bit, blew a hole in the bottom of the ship big enough to drive an 18-wheeler through. And like I said, it sounded like every firework in a fireworks show going off at the same time. Pretty terrifying. I guess the good news is that our entire ship, including the squadron I was in, I mean, we were trained over and over and over again to what to do and not panic. Now, granted, there was a little bit of panicking going on. There were a couple people that panicked. I mean, it was traumatic, and it was physically traumatic. If you got thrown out of your bed, then that's pretty traumatic. And then the sound alone was unbelievable. The explosion was just unbelievable. I guess, and I didn't know this then, but the good news is that even if the ship sank, we were in such shallow water, our flight deck would have probably still been sticking out of the water, which would have been good because we had helicopters up on board above, on the flight deck. And for those of us that flew, we could put our flight suits and just flight gear on, which is very minimal. It's a helmet and like a vest with some like equipment attached to it, like a breathing device and some other things. A gas mask. We had gas masks that we had, so it was pretty easy for us to get dressed. And so this mine goes off, and my immediate thought was, get out of bed, get dressed, and get to work. So that's exactly what I did. I got up, I got dressed, and I hauled ass to where our work muster was. And we're all trying to figure out what happened. And there was no way to know what happened actually because they hadn't said it over the intercom or over the loudspeakers. Nobody knew exactly what happened. We just saw that we had gotten silkworm attacked. So we're all waiting for more attack. And luckily there was no more attack. But so this mine goes off, blows the ship part out of the water, puts a hole in the ship so big that we eventually had to take the ship back to, I don't know, a dry dock or someplace where they started fixing stuff. We were on the ship for probably, I don't know, a month before we got transferred to a different ship, and then they actually fixed that ship. I think the Tripoli is still actually floating around somewhere. But yeah, so when this mine goes off, luckily there was nobody like severely injured on my ship. All the damage was done under the under the water. The ship went up and hit the mine and just literally blew the whole ship right out of the water. Not completely out of the water, but blew the whole front of the ship. I don't know, they said, 3 or 4 feet out of the water. And yeah, very traumatic. Traumatic to the point where, like I mentioned earlier about, it's like if all the fireworks at a 4th of July show went off at the same time. Well, I'm going to be honest. I don't go to 4th of July shows anymore. I can't really. Like, I don't have PTSD or any kind of like long lasting stuff as much as, at least I don't believe I do. But I don't think I do. But what I don't like is I don't like the grand finale at fireworks shows. Like, it's just too much for me. I can't really, like, I can't deal with it. I can't do it. I have to get up and leave. Not during the grand finale. It's not like I can't walk or I can't get away, but I need to leave before the grand finale. I need to not be around when that happens, which is kind of stupid, but it was that traumatic 35 years ago that it still does kind of affect me like that. I don't like loud noise stuff. It like, it doesn't make me like fall down and become like, a baby or anything, but I just don't like it. I don't like it at all. To the point where I'll avoid being in that position to have to deal with it because I just don't want to deal with it. Yeah, luckily, I guess luckily for me, nobody on my ship was severely injured or hurt. Nobody died on our ship, which is good. And quite frankly, our whole ship, including my squadron, we were so well trained. We just went to work. Quite frankly, the Iraqis are lucky that it was just a random underwater attack, because if there was actually Iraqis to shoot at, we'd have been in the air with 50 caliber machine guns, gunning them down, and that would have felt good then, but wouldn't feel good now, I'm sure. So yeah, 35 years ago on the USS Tripoli, with a 5,000-pound mine attack. I think there was actually a couple of the ships that hit mines, but we'd already swept most of the Gulf, a lot of the Gulf, and gotten most of the moored mines out of the area. So I think there was mines that were out there still floating around that were, I don't know, dislodged from the mooring and the ground, and they were just floating around, or maybe they dropped more. I don't know, but yeah, I'm just sharing it because that was a crazy time in my life, and like I said, nobody got hurt. We've lost a couple of guys that I served with during that time since then, and I've talked about it on here. Um, anybody who subscribes knows that recently one of my friends, one of my brothers, struggles with something in life. I'm not exactly sure even what happened. I don't think I even want to know, but yeah, 35 years ago, USS Tripoli on in the Persian Gulf, attacked by a 500-pound mine. I say attacked, but I think we more attacked it, because if it was a moored mine, then we clearly like shipped into its water and ran into it. Or if it was, I don't know if it was moored or floating, but if it was floating, then obviously it found its way to our ship, and we ran into it. But yeah, I just wanted to share this because this was a traumatic time in my life that I would never want to live again. But the people that I served with at that time, I would do it again with all those guys. It was well worth it. And after the event, like, the fact that the people that were all around at that time, we had known each other for quite some time, but now we really felt like we knew each other. We had gone through war at that time. We were brothers, like you can't be any closer brothers than two people that go through a traumatic life event like that, especially an uncontrolled life event. It's like being in a carload full of friends and being in a car accident, and everybody living but getting the wits scared out of them. Those people remember each other and know each other, feeling like they're extremely close for life. It was that kind of event. But yeah, this was, like I said, 35 years ago. And I have friends that talk about how they're so traumatically changed and like it affected their lives forever. And I don't really feel that way. I felt like I wouldn't have done it with other people that I've known. But going through that event with the brothers that I was there with, it was, I felt completely secure and safe. And quite frankly, once I put my flight suit on and I got to the top of uh, the ship, I was pre-flighting my aircraft to get into the air. I just wanted to get off the ship. I wanted to fly away. I wanted to be able to fly to land if I needed to. I wanted to fly anywhere but being where that happened or could potentially happen again. So yeah, that was 35 years ago. The USS Tripoli mine hit, and like I said, there are people that I know that they say that it affected their lives forever, and I'll be honest, I think that it made me a better person. It made me more confident in what I'm capable of, and maybe the strength and the strength that I've learned in that event may have given me the strength that I'm dealing with my health right now, that just to keep things going and keep on going and to not give up, because we were not trained to give up or quit at that point. And I think that kind of just became, the way that I've always lived. Never give up, always keep going, always try to find more and get it done. So yeah, if there's any questions about that mine hit 35 years ago on the USS Tripoli, you can leave them below and I'll answer any questions um, or any comments. I'd be thankful for that. Hope you're all having a great day. Thank you. Bye-bye.